The blue mat is out. That could mean only one thing. We have to open up a computer. And today, it's going to be the ASUS notebook computer that I picked up at Micro Center about 2 years ago. Only one problem. I'd love to show this to you, but it doesn't work. And I think the battery is bad. So let's install a new one today. This is what's next. Found this on Amazon. It was around $40. It got so-so reviews, so we're going to see if this actually is going to solve the problem. But what is going on with this ASUS laptop? Well, no matter if it's plugged in or not, this thing will only last about 20 seconds. And I'm thinking it has a lot more to do with the battery, because it can't be charged, therefore the laptop won't work even if it is plugged in. I know that there are some laptops out there that do that, so this is a crapshoot. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but that's enough jibber jabber. We're going to go on and let's open up the box with the battery. One of the things that intrigued me is that it came with a couple screwdrivers. We have an installation manual and the battery itself. Now, the question is this the right battery? Because I was going on memory and past searches, so we're going to see if this is the right one. And we have several screws. We have 4 at the top, 3 in the middle, and 2 at the bottom. Oh, and by the way, the other thing is these screws don't come out. There's a catch, which is really good for taking this thing apart and not losing the screws. All the screws are undone. Next step is to get the back off, and if I remember correctly, this was not an easy process. So I do remember now that it's not from the bottom, it's from the inside of the ASUS laptop, because I've already messed it up at one point. So let's see if we can get this taken apart. There we go. We have now the keyboard taken off, and there is the inside, and I just pulled off this cable here. The next thing we're going to do is get this ribbon cable out here, which that lifts up, and that comes right out. Here is our battery. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop out the power. There we go. And so I just used my fingernails there, but you can use a screwdriver or a pry tool. And then there you go. So the battery is now disassembled, and we're going to go ahead and use the Phillips head screwdriver to see if we can get these off. These actually come out. Battery should come out like that. And of course, this provides a lot of weight, and now the laptop won't stay put, but that's fine. There is the information from the battery, B31N1915. Did we get the right battery? Let's find out. There is the battery, model number B31N1991. This definitely looks a little smaller, so we're going to have to see if this is actually going to fit within this unit. So let's find out. Well, after looking at this and then taking out the cable from the other one, no, this battery will not work with this laptop, which is kind of a bummer. I'm going to go look for another battery, and we're going to come back to that in just a moment. Well, for you, it'll be a moment. For me, it might be a couple days. We're back. It's been almost a week. A couple things with this laptop since we last talked. I did get Windows 10 reinstalled back on the system. I was having boot problems. But you're saying, wait a minute, how could you do that? You said this thing wouldn't last 20 seconds. Well, I did find a trick. If you go ahead and install this cable and leave it just like that, and it will stay running. So, bonus, I found out that little trick. In the meantime, I'll leave that right there. Here's our other battery. We're not going to do another unboxing per se, but basically comes with all the same stuff. The operation manual is almost exactly the same. The tools are almost exactly the same. The battery isn't. This is actually a battery that will work with this laptop. And you'll notice the first thing is that there is a connector right here. And that will use the existing cable right here. So that is one major advantage to this battery compared to the other one. So it'll fit in this case, if I remember correctly, it goes upside down, and it fits perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do the reverse of everything and put it all back together. Battery's installed, and we are not connecting this back up until I know that this battery will work. So let's go ahead and see if the power button works. I think I saw something. Maybe? Nothing. Alright, let's go ahead and get it plugged in. And we're going to give this a shot and see if this works. Okay, we have the ASUS logo. Looks like we got something booting up. Again, not the fastest processor in the world. Now saying the battery is 92% full. Alright, I'm unplugging it. And it says we're on battery. This is awesome. I got the battery to work. Let me get the brightness on this screen up. There we go. And I'm going to set this to best performance so we can get to use that battery. I think I fixed this. That's awesome. Super excited. Kensington lock. We have our barrel jack. USB, but this is only power in. USB-A, and I think one of them is a 2 and one of them is a 3, and I can't remember which. We have the HDMI out. On the other side, we have the rocker for the volume up and down, power, headphones. There's your other USB, and it does have full-blown Ethernet. I don't even remember the size of the screen, so let's see. We got almost an 11 and a half inches diagonally on this. I don't have much installed on this because I went back through the ASUS website and was able to find the instructions on how to reinstall Windows 10. And then this app here, which is the ASUS app, I don't even know what they call it. What is it? Welcome to my ASUS. Basically, this is the product that will, monitor the system. I went to the website, downloaded the drivers, which was an automatic thing. I had to install one little piece of software. But yeah, so it's running. The memory is only 4 gigabytes, if I remember correctly. The hard drive that's built in is a 64 gig eMMC hard drive. However, you do have the option of putting in an SSD. So like I have here. So it is possible. But when I decided to reinstall this, I would just put it on the internal. At least that way I could start playing around with some Linux on here. It is the Intel Celeron N4500 with a base clock of or at 1.1 gigahertz. This is not a speed demon at all. It is just for web browsing, email, some tech stuff. But we are going to try a game on this. This will run Windows 11. Why you would want to install it on here with only 4 gigs of memory? Beyond me. Windows 10 works at least somewhat decently. So and here we got Classic Cube version 1.3.7. Runs basically around 58 to 60 frames per second. So at least know that runs. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not even sure how to get. Alright, well, look at that. So we're getting some stuff. Let's try Unigine Heaven. Okay, it is super, super slow. I'm getting 4 frames a second. We're now using the built-in microphones, which there are 2 of them right about here. It's an education laptop, so it is what it is. The other thing, again, browsing, it's pretty slow as well. We'll go stop here, quality. We'll do 1080 and see if it'll play that. But we're going to go ahead and take it back to the studio for my final thoughts. Well, the battery replacement for this low-end ASUS laptop was for me a fun live and learn experience, but I do want to apologize to Amazon. Why? Because I need to write down the freaking battery number before ordering the replacement so I don't have to do the return. But anyways, that is what it is, right? Since recording the video, I've charged and discharged this battery a few times, and during this process, I tested the longevity by playing one of those fireplace videos that runs like for 12 hours at 1080p resolution, and the battery lasted for about 4 hours and 46 minutes before it went into sleep mode. Not great time-wise for that battery, and as far as the laptop is concerned, would I recommend it? No. It was a total impulse buy a few years ago at Micro Center, and while it's fun to play around with and do some really simple tasks, the 4 gigabytes of RAM and underpowered processor just isn't worth it in my opinion. You know, you can find refurbished laptops on eBay and Amazon and Facebook Marketplace, and that'll offer way more features and better speed for around $100, which is about what I paid for that thing. So my long-term plan is to use the laptop to test a few Linux distros, so get subscribed if you'd like to see those shenanigans. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for watching. If you liked this content, could you please just take a moment and give me a thumbs up and share this episode with others. To be notified when I post new content, click the subscribe and bell notification icons. In the meantime, feel free to watch one of my other videos either here or here. And until next time, I'll see you again for another episode of Hey, What's Next?